Okay, so maybe you could start. It's Deo. You like to be called Deo, is that right?
That's correct.
Maybe just start introduce yourself and Nimble to me.
Absolutely. My name is Daya, and I'm the founder and CEO of Nyoombl. Simply put, Nyoombl is a podium for any two persons to take their conversations public. It could be a debate, it could be a fun dialogue, say a conversation about sports, and just any two people can just talk about whatever it is they'd like to share with the world in real time and also archive. They can share the conversation in the recorded version once it's done.
And it's been nearly, or not just a year yet, since it first launched, but that was in private beta. Is that right? So what's been happening over that time period?
That's correct. On 11/11/11, that's November 11 last year, 2011, we unveiled Nyoombl to a few people. We actually launched on a platform called TechCrunch, which is a website, a technology plugin website, very popular in the United States. And what it, what the goal was at the time was to ensure that we got our name out there and that we could get a few persons, just like the blogger had written, to sign up first. And we had more than what we had thought we wanted, which was we wanted just 100 persons to test it out. So we got a few, more than 100, actually a lot more. And those persons formed the base of what were the people that would be our user base for the beta, in addition to our friends.
And what have been the main uses that have been that it's been implemented for so far, and have those included maybe any examples of journalists using it?
Yes, we've found uses that have ranged from the it's everything, the gamut from the sublime to the ridiculous, everything. We've seen people talk about things like Kim Kardashian and Hollywood gossip and Bertano and Kanye West, to people talking about politics, gun rights, gay rights. We've also found, young teenagers actually requesting to meet their idols or celebrities. We've had CEOs of companies actually have conversations with 19-year-old sophomores and freshmen at Stanford University. We had a girl who literally wanted to meet with Heidi Roizen, who is known as the first venture capital female in the world since it's in Silicon Valley. And this happened on Nyoombl. So we're finding people meeting serendipitously as well as based on intent. The former would be two people showing up and realizing, oh, I'm paired with this other person. And the second would be two persons planning to meet on Nyoombl at a particular time, and they do meet at that time, like you and I are doing.
So I noticed that some people have sort of got just themselves, and the title is "I want to meet" or "I want to speak to so and so." So in the early stages, is that part of your role to try and bring those sorts of people together, or is that something you're planning long term, or have you been involved in
Yes.
that?
Well, we initially didn't know that people would want to use Nyoombl asynchronously, that is, as opposed to two persons synchronously.
Hmm.
But when we found out that people were using Nyoombl to request meetings with their role models, we built a tool to allow that happen. So we just want to watch things and see how people use this and study the behavioral patterns on the website. And we are building to conform with user habits while also navigating frontiers into where we think they should be. So yes, we are going to be pairing people automatically based on interest, and we're going to be allowing them to meet their role models and idols.
Okay. Now, since Nimble went to private beta in November last year, Google Plus Hangouts launched on air in May this year.
Yes.
How much of an, I mean, obviously there is many similarities between the platforms. What makes Nimble different? What other features is that hoping to offer to set it apart?
Ultimately, firstly, when you have so many entrants in the market space, it's a source of validation for what we do. Secondly, it's good when you have these players there, and the differences, in my opinion, are subtle but very, very significant in terms of the impact. Everyone knows that Google Hangout is a place where you literally go to hang out, whereas on Nyoombl, two is a conversation, and three is a hangout. It doesn't exist. We try to make the two persons have a conversation that is profound, if they want to have it profound, whether it's a debate or even just something about sports. So we're different because on Nyoombl you can have this conversation live. When you're done, you have a URL, a link that you can share, and this link is ready 2 seconds after your live session is over. I don't know that Google Hangout has this. Also on Nyoombl, you're able to just focus to a broad audience as opposed to Hangout where it's just 9 of you having a conversation and no one else can see it.
So there's no limit on the number of viewers?
The limit will be set by the extent of our infrastructure.
Sorry, I didn't hear the very beginning of that. Do you mind just repeating that?
I said you are correct. There is no limit. It's just like YouTube. How many persons can see a video? Well,
okay.
As much as YouTube can hold.
As much as the technology can enable it. Okay. And
Yeah.
is there any, in terms of journalists using this, if they were to do an interview and they wanted to then have that as a file, is it going to be embeddable, or is it simply going to be a link that they can go to? You mentioned a URL.
Well, I'm going to let you answer the question right now, and we may close with that. Why don't you hover your mouse on the player itself at the top? Do you see that?
Aha! Link share embed.
So you see the embed link.
Okay.
There you go. So that's the answer. It is embeddable.
Okay, cool. And very quickly, 30 seconds. You said that users can't be anonymous.
That's good.
How is that being implemented? Because I could have put a pretend name.
Well, in 2 ways. Firstly, we have a technological capability that prevents you from being anonymous, like you saw. And secondly, there's a community rating that just assures that doesn't happen.
Okay.
Fundamentally, people are more responsible when they are not anonymous.
Okay. 5 seconds. Thank you very much.
So, thank you, Rachel.
Bye.
Bye.